Ahoy there, landlubbers. It's me, Kevin Smith.
Jason Hughes.
Have you ever wanted to get lost on the high seas with Jay and Silent Bob? Well, you're going to have your chance in the year 2024. Join us for Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew. Live podcasts every night. We got a movies on board. There's a View Askew museum. What else?
Music, dancing, hooting, hollering.
What are you waiting for, man? Jay and Silent Bob, cruiseaskew.com. We will protect you from sharks.
Episode 363.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
I now realize just how dated that soundbite is, because most people don't listen to the radio now. They listen to podcasts. Oh, why can't I hear you, Trent? Where did you go?
Radio is boring, and I think everyone knows that now. Like that we are part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, we are. We're so much a part of the zeitgeist, Trent. Nobody listens to us now. That's how much we're part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
because
that's how cool we are. Is that it's uncool to not like it, to like us.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. A new episode of NetHeads coming at you. Brand new for 2024. That's right. Brand new year, brand new show, same old hosts. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. One of them is a little thing we call Twitter. Or we call it Twitter.
Yeah, we still call it Twitter.
Yeah, they call it X, and the dogs are going nuts. So, Trent, why don't you go ahead and tell them how to do that?
Yeah, just use the hashtag NetHeads, and you can tweet at us, whether it be live during the show. We might see it. Definitely after the show, we'll see it and we'll respond. It's kind of the one-stop shop, to the catch-all, if you will, to be part of the show. Or, more importantly, or perhaps more timely, if you're watching on any of the live streams as it's going out, you can jump in the chat there, and we will probably definitely see it.
We will definitely be happily distracted by you, and of course, we always welcome it. Trent. First of all, I know I said it to everyone else, but I'd like to tell you, Happy New Year, sir.
And to you as well. Or to quote Larry David, you can't say Happy New Year. It's the 7th.
And it's the 11th. So what are you going to do? Exactly. Hello, Bobo Dillagaff. Thank you for joining us. Trent, I would like to say I had a Happy New Year, but let me tell you a little story, okay?
Okay.
Gonna give you an update, share a little story with you, because I've been spending the last at least 10 days in 2024 just wearing Birkenstocks. And no, I am not the Dalai Lama, and no, I haven't gone with a more spiritual approach in life. New Year's Eve is always difficult around here, okay? Because we got the two rescue Samoyeds that are really sketched out by fireworks.
Don't even get me started on fireworks, man.
I know. So naturally that doesn't go well. And Benjamin, although he's been raised around noise and everything else, he's a bit of a wuss. So when people were still celebrating like the Hawaiian New Year with fireworks for us, I joke, but it was more like somewhere in the middle of the Pacific, because it was still like 2:30 something. That was when I finally got to actually go to sleep. That's when things normalized. But lo and behold, 7:30 in the morning, I wake up and I'm like, you know what? It's a goddamn brand new year, and I'm going to start it out right, Trent.
Yeah, it's a new year, so it's a new Will.
Exactly. And I had the will to harness up my dog and do something that's good for both of us. Take him for that walk, right?
Yeah,
and get out there. And we had a really good walk. You would think, oh, at the timing, it was, oh, Will's going to be tired. No, it was a good experience, right? It was fun. We had a good walk. Then it came down to the last, I would say, because of the walking apps I know, it was down to the last 0.2 miles, Trent. Last 0.2
Okay.
miles. So
Okay.
I could just as easily
Home
safely
stretch.
say the last quarter mile.
Yeah.
And I started to get a pain in my heel. Just a little pain, a little twang, a little something something. And
Okay.
which doesn't bother me because every morning now when I wake up, my feet are stiff. I got to crack the toes, stretch them,
Yep.
and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a pain in my heel, and which I've only had, pardon me for saying, guys, but the last time I had, I think I had plantar's warts or something. And
Oh yeah, very
and
common.
those were terrible to have in my heel.
Mhm.
But this was happening. At first, I'm like, oh, God, I hope it's not that again. I hope it's not that. You know what? Technically speaking, I wonder if it could be that again. I don't see anything, though.
Yeah, and normally you see the round, like even when they're just starting, and it's harder there usually on than the rest of your. You can usually tell, right?
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you something, Trent. My heel is smooth as a baby's bottom. Granted, if you dipped it in cement and then let that dry, but still, nothing there.
Right.
And then throughout New Year's Day, the pain just intensified and intensified and intensified and would not let up. I don't know, what it was that triggered it on this walk, but what we pretty much determined was that New Year's Day, for some reason, I was blessed with a lovely case of plantar fasciitis. So,
I mean, or it could have even been a bruised heel, and a bruised heel doesn't necessarily show the mark of blood within underneath the dermis. You could bruise the meat in your heel, and I've done that before, and it hurts very much.
well, yeah, but I was wearing some nice walking shoes with good padding, Trent. I didn't. So, needless to say, I'm a little bit upset, and I've been treating it for plantar fasciitis. So, every morning or every night when I go to bed, I'm wearing this ridiculous boot brace that will take my foot and, instead of it like this or me extending it out like that while I'm sleeping, it goes like this to basically, I think it's the planar. I don't know how it's said.
Yeah.
It's a tendon or something that goes along the back of your foot. It's the part of the thing that helps control the bend and the retraction of the foot while you walk. And
Sure.
that's how I've been treating it. And every morning when I take the boot off, it does feel a little bit better than the day before. And so far I've tried a pair of orthopedic shoes. I have tried a pair of Crocs, and I have worn the Birkenstocks. And
Have you tried the Hey Dudes?
no, I have not, but I will say that the ortho shoes that I have look a lot like Hey Dudes.
Okay, yeah, because so my dad, who has the Parkinson's, he has ortho shoes that are just like Hey Dudes, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly good. Great. You and your dad and me were wearing the same shoes. Look, man, I'm not saying it was an ego blow to have to buy ortho shoes.
Right.
Okay. Didn't make me feel good, Trent. I'm just trying to get out there and get healthy again.
Yeah.
Because you look at this podcast over the years now. I had a good run for about 2.5 years. Then I guess maybe the testosterone wore out. I don't know what it is, but now
stress, added stress, cortisol. Man, we do not give enough attention to the effects that cortisol have on our bodies.
Or it's because I actually got rid of some stress. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Either or. We don't know. Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about it is that I'm out there trying to lose weight, and instead you watch this podcast and I'm like the Adrian Gray of yours for your weight. You just every pound you lose, it ends up going to me. And so that wasn't the great start to my my new year. But how was yours? How has yours been for the first 11 days?
Here, look, a thing about fireworks that it perplexes me to no end. As far as I know, right, and I would love to see some research, perhaps an academic paper done on this. But it's my belief that fireworks are just emulated war. They're like emulated cannon fire. Is I believe where they came from. And if that's the case, like why? Why do we celebrate by pretending we're at war? It makes no sense to me. It's
You know,
bizarre.
it's funny you mentioned that, Trent, because I'm sure in your area we keep referring to fireworks, but you know, there's very familiar popping sounds that I also hear off in the distance that always make me very, very fearful about you know, the old adage that what goes up must
Goes
come
up,
down.
must come down. Yeah. Oh, and you better believe that it's not just fireworks that are being shot off here in Utah.
Yeah, exactly. So I take it the dogs aren't a big fan, or are they just disturbing your sleep?
You know what? They don't really care. These guys don't. I was watching a friend's dog who's a little bit skittish, and for dogs, at least from the way I understand, same reason they're frightened by thunder is they don't know. They can't figure out where the sounds are coming from, and that's what causes the fright.
Sorry, speaking of, I just love the muzzle coming up saying, "Yo, dad, dad, dad. I need attention."
You want to talk about anxious attachment, man? This guy is just all over the place.
Yeah, I'm still you know, working the bonding with Benjamin, and I mean that in the sense that I'm trying to get him to cuddle with me at night, because that's the end goal. That's what I want. That's
yeah.
there. You know, if you're not going to have a person next to you, then having a dog next to you is the next best thing.
Yeah, for those of us who might be, you know, suffering from several years worth of touch starvation, of the large dogs are important in our lives.
You know, it's funny too. I got to tell you, well, Corgi's, it's a medium-sized dog with a little dog's legs, but it's very interesting. This is not on the show notes, and I apologize, but one of the things that I had to learn about, because Benjamin has different habits and behaviors than Winston did. And one of the things that he does is that he does this like little tiny, if you're petting him or giving him attention, he might like turn around and give these like tiny little nibble bites. I think we've discussed this before.
Yeah,
Well, I found out what he is doing.
Yeah.
It's a grooming thing. So he's grooming me out of affection.
Yeah.
So now I finally realize why dogs like us to pet them, because they feel we are grooming them. We're giving them back a behavior that they're looking for.
Yeah,
So
one that's similar to it's a shared grooming habit between the two of us. It's one of the few crossovers of communication that works for both humans and for dogs.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that kind of shocks me and weirds me out a little bit about it is that, you know, are we now at a point where there is a genetic memory that compels us to pet dogs, or is it a learned habit? Because I know I will frequently. I love petting my dog. I pet my dog all the time. But is this something that I've learned, or is it a genetic thing? Or is, you know,
I think that the dogs that we have now have been bred to be cute, and we are more drawn into them just by the way their faces are, by the way their sizes are. I read a really interesting book last year about someone was proposing that the reason that Homo sapiens were able to succeed over Neanderthals was because of their adaptation and use and co-companionship with dogs, and it was that advantage that allowed them to go over it. But they in that same book they talk a lot about how there was a Russian researcher who bred like 6 generations of foxes in captivity, and over time they started to develop the same things that dogs had, which was closer together eyes. They were a little bit wider. Their ears got shorter and lighter colored. Like a lot of different things that that we see in our common dogs now, just out of who knows why.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I understand. By the way, I want to thank Mean Dan Green in the chat saying it's a tech podcast and we're talking about dogs. I also want to give a shout out to Cassidy Ward, who I can't remember what was the website that it was on, that it ran on.
Which one?
Yes, the wonderful article that was written where your favorite haphazard podcast hosts, Trent Hunsaker and Will Wilkins, NetHeads was actually given one of the 2024 podcasts to listen to.
I'm going to pull it up right here. It's in my texts.
It's like tech something.
Yeah, it is from yada yada yada. Okay, find it here. There, not there. Nope, not there. It is on Slash Gear.
There we go. And if you want to check that out, I did not include it in the show description. But if you check out NetHeads on Air on X Twitter, then you can see reference there. And by the way, Trent, I was very worried about your health and your well-being this evening because, regardless of what you've experienced so far, our wonderful listeners, I'm shockingly prepared for tonight's episode. So a lot of the things we are going to talk about are already in or linked in the show description. So, I was really worried because usually when I do that, when I get things arranged, something happens to Trent. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, no, you know what? And you know what? Sometimes showing up is half the battle. The other half is knowing.
Exactly. So, Trent, as you know, in the beginning of the Januaries, every year, since we are a tech podcast, the guy at the front of the show even said so.
It's a tech podcast.
It's a haphazard tech podcast. By the way, yes, I will be embracing haphazard for all of 2024. I thought it was the most wonderful description for the regularity of our show. Haphazard at best, but hell of a listen when it happens. And thank you for that again, Cassidy Ward. That was a very nice thing to start the new year with. So that was wonderful. Beginning of January in Las Vegas brings a special event every year, Trent. And as a tech podcast, we are behoven.
It behooves us.
Thank you. It behooves us to speak of such a thing. The Consumer Electronics Show happened this year in Las Vegas again, and lots of wonderful gadgets have been premiered.
Yep.
Also,
yes, is happening as we speak.
Yeah, and apparently also, like, there's a large automotive contingency that happens now, and like Honda dropped news about an all-electric car. They have a sports model and something else.
Okay.
There's also, technical products that happen, and needless to say, quite unsurprisingly, AI is really kind of on the forefront of a lot of that. And I'm not going to talk about the best of CES. I'm not going to talk about all the cool things that I saw. I've just got a few that are quote unquote new and noteworthy, if you will. Okay.
Sure.
Some things that I wanted to talk about, and mostly because I want to see your reaction on some of them, because I am just completely and utterly shocked and baffled by one of them. The first one we're going to talk about is a product called Clicks. Trent, have you heard about it yet?
Clicks with an X?
Nope, it is actually spelled exactly the way you would expect.
Okay, go on. I'm not familiar with the product.
Well, then allow me, sir, to introduce you to Clicks. It's over on that side. This is, I kid you not, this is a phone case and a physical keyboard that you can use with your iPhone. I think they have them for iPhone 14 Pro and the iPhone 15s. So in essence, I'll simplify it for you, Trent. It is a case that allows you to turn your iPhone into a BlackBerry.
Yeah, so it's just it gives you a physical interface then that's not just touchpad.
Exactly, which I have to say, at first when this happened, I was mocking the idea. But when you pair a Bluetooth keyboard with your iPhone in the iPhone family, it will suppress the keyboard itself from popping up when you're using it, like in form fields or typing addresses, any of that. So it actually would allow you to fully utilize the screen for content and everything else. So it would improve that. And I'm sure one of the other things too that this may be helpful for is there are people with certain conditions that may find using a physical keyboard is more practical. So I can understand the one for a tactile keyboard.
Yeah, I have hyperhidrosis, so my hands they're always like super hot. Like it's the worst. And so like my hands are so hot, sometimes it just shuts down the screen doesn't know what to do because it's getting so much heat from behind the device. because they're not pressure sensitive, they're heat sensitive. That's why sometimes when it's really cold, you have to blow on your fingers a little bit to get it to register your taps and stuff. So I would actually love something like this. I mean, so is it a QWERTY keyboard? How many keys are on it? And I didn't notice, but in the picture, it really is like a BlackBerry where the keys are down at the bottom of the device.
Big time, sir. Big time. But, I thought it was interesting because it's literally one of those gadgets that at first glance, you're like, why is this here? But then, like, you start to think about it, you're like, okay, I kind of get it a little bit.
No, yeah, I actually do. Now, how does it connect? Is it going through the USB-C port or is it a wireless connection?
No, I believe it's a Bluetooth connection for the keyboard.
Okay, interesting.
But I believe, I don't know, and I don't think this one's linked in the show description as well because it's not one of the important things I want to drive people to. But you can find out more. Just do a thing for Clicks International or Clicks Technology, and you can find out more about that product. Now that one isn't the oddest or the creepiest though. I have to tell you this one. Now I'm going to just give you the name first, Trent. I like to make everything into a game if I can.
Sure.
So I'm going to pitch this one to you first. So the name of the product. You tell me what you think it is
okay.
Ballie. And I'll even help you out a little bit. Ballie.
And if there was one L, I would have thought it to be something like a soundboard for your favorite films from the Mumbai area. But in this case, Ballie?
Yes, and it's made by Samsung.
Oh,
I don't know if that helps or not.
No, because I would assume it's another Surrey knockoff that doesn't work and is just a pain in the ass, like all other phone manufacturers try to come up with.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to end your misery. This, Trent, is Ballie. And what Ballie does is it's an autonomous artificial intelligence device that is your little around the house helper. It can utilize its own internal projector to project movies or video conferences onto a nearby wall. It can also patrol your house and help out with keeping track of your pets. That is Ballie from Samsung.
How big is it?
It is about the size and the weight of a bowling ball, which you can relate to.
Okay, so and that the second you said project, because you know how you'll have like those little teeny like palm projectors. If anyone's ever used one, the size that they project is not big enough to like that I would want to watch a full movie on.
It's funny you mentioned that though, because now and I don't know if it was specifically spawned for education, but there are a lot of, and I don't know if this is what Ballie has, but there are a lot of what they call short throw digital projectors now. So like you could literally have, let's say you did it on your wall you were going to project it on your wall. You could have a small, I don't know why I can't think of the word TV stand or a cabinet or the like. And you could have it on top of that dresser and it would just project right up on the wall from there.
Sure. And that makes sense. Oh, so you don't have to have the distance.
Exactly. So you could walk around your room and not walk in front of the picture, all that jazz.
Which has always been the downfall of ever having a projector, and why you always had to have it mounted up on the ceiling pointing down and then adjusting the tilt so that it would lay flat. Now you're a little bit more familiar with projectors than I am, having worked in the industry before. Current projector technology is much different with the bulbs than they used to be. Is this correct?
Yeah, they definitely are, and I don't know how Ballie does its work, man. Let's not get lost in the weeds on that. But I will say that they have been able to make them smaller and smaller, and somehow they're still getting brighter and brighter and maintaining HD definition.
Right,
so
that's the crazy part too, is that you're getting like even with like old projectors that you would get, like it wasn't an HD picture you're getting. You go into some art house theaters and what they're showing up on the screen is not a true HD.
Mean Dan Green in the chat says, just don't hook your 3D printer up to the Google Nest and it won't be able to make weapons or anything. I don't know, man. You never know. Ballie does look a little sus. I mean, somebody said that, and now I realize too, it really does look like some of the characters in Among Us. So that's
oh yeah,
shocking.
I can see that. Yeah. In fact, it looks like the robot in Space Dandy, kind of.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay.
Can you help me out?
He just looks like a vacuum cleaner, kind of.
Oh,
In fact,
fair enough.
It's
Well,
a joke, but it yeah, looks like that too.
so does this guy. And one that I don't have pictured, but I think is also noteworthy. This one I actually found very interesting. One of the expensive frame manufacturers for glasses has a product that's called Nuance. Okay, Nuance, and it's very similar in style to my glasses and your glasses in appearance. But what it does is it uses an array of 6 microphones within the frame. So that way, if you have a hearing condition, it allows you to better hear that which you are looking at. So directional microphones, and not have something in your ear. I don't know if it's speakers that project audio down or if it's trying to do bone induction.
Yeah.
But I thought that one was probably one of the most interesting new products to roll out of CES, because I have that exact same problem. If I'm in a crowded situation, I unfortunately am going to do that ridiculous lean in, and I'm still going to do the old person cupping my hand to my ear.
Well, let me get out my tin horn here. What's that you say?
Exactly.
No,
So that one's kind of noteworthy, I think.
And if I remember correctly, I believe there are different integrations, so that if you are hearing impaired and the hearing aids that you're using are bone induction, and if the other ones are the inset ones, they can tune to either with the glasses themselves.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the kind of technology you want. Although I got to tell you, as a person that suffers from tinnitus, there's always a frequent conversation around getting hearing aids, so that way you don't have to hear around the tinnitus, because they can send the alternative frequency, or the inverted wave of the frequency that I can't hear, so that way it makes the buzzing go away. Because that's what the chime or the whine or the buzzing in your ear comes from. It's because you've lost the ability to hear a specific frequency, and the mind seeks to fill it in.
Right.
And this could do that. So, and which is probably part of the reason why I love noise canceling headphones, because, you know, those send a lot of different waves in there, and my tinnitus does kind of go down a little bit with those.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not bad. So those are the gadgets that are coming out of CES that I thought were interesting. You know, there's all kind of like little robots and stuff, but I think everyone's had an ass full of me talking about robots.
I don't know what you're talking
about. I'm just saying. Although I will say though, Trent, there's also, we got to start doing like segment headers or something, because I got a lot of little ideas, right? But the other thing that I do realize is that having an audience here, having our regular listeners, our Patreon supporters and the like, provides me certain advantages. So like every week, instead of like running a commercial for somebody else, I figure maybe we should try and take advantage of this time, so that way we can go ahead and we can start soliciting for people to do things for us. Now, not necessarily like spending money. Like, you know, for example, one of the things that I did to start the year off, for those that are wondering, I'm sure nobody is. Last week, we were not able to broadcast because Thursday night was the day Trent's new tenant was moving in. So the timing just didn't work out. And if nothing else, we're going to be convenient when we do this. So we took the night off. But the following day, I happened to guest on Nerd Initiative's Fandoms Again, where the guy who hosts it, Tony, also known as Mr. Marvelite, he chose to go with a different kind of theme for this week. And let me get your take on this, because, you know, I always like to get your opinion on things. The concept, it's going to sound a little familiar because there's been variations of it frequently on the internet, but it was Cinema Smackdown. And so what the idea is let's come up with a movie theme, and then you have to pick your film and argue why it's the better of the two.
This is the better,
And in that, the theme that he decided on was good movie that is a terrible adaptation of a book.
So
okay?
where the it can stand on its own good, even if the book is still good. It's not that it's better than the book, just that it's a good movie that's not a good adaptation of the book, meaning they're not congruent. The book is not the movie.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I will give you one of them. Although if I were to present to you that particular theory, that particular approach, what movie would you go with?
I would go with Shutter Island. No, I don't know because I actually haven't seen the movie Shutter Island, so I can't say that. I've only seen the trailers, which seems like the full movie to me, so I'm not sure.
Immediately, I'm gonna save you because I'm gonna throw you a lifeline here.
Yeah.
Immediately when the idea was presented, two movies came to mind for both of us.
I've got one, but in my mind I don't know if it's a really good movie because I haven't revisited it since I first saw it. But so go on.
Yeah, I was the same way with the movie that I chose, but it was because there were two movies that were chosen, and somebody got lucky with one, and somebody wasn't going to get lucky with the other. You know, it's like one of them's a good candidate, the other not so much.
Right.
So the two movies that immediately came to our mind: Jurassic Park,
Sure.
Ready Player One.
Okay. Yeah, I can see
Okay.
that. Yeah.
And I was mainly in my mind thinking, because in my household, Ready Player One is a very rewatchable movie. We watch it all the time. My daughter loves it. I enjoy it. Terrible adaptation of the book, but it's got a lot of good messages about, suppressing corporate greed, the pitfalls of credit, how we have to, occasionally get out and touch grass. A lot of good messages. So I'm like, okay, I can defend this one. And Tony chose Jurassic Park. Now, here's the hook. You never know in the episode who the winner is because the audience votes.
They get to choose. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
they get to choose via a Google form. And I will say, if you haven't caught the episode and you're not watching this on your smart device and you have your phone, you can click the QR code and that'll take you to the episode. Within its show description and within our show description, there is a link to the Google form. I'm not asking you to watch the episode. I'm not asking you guys to even pick or decide if I was right or he was right. I'm literally asking you to help me squash Tony on this one.
Just go vote and crush Mr. Marvelite.
Yes, vote for Ready Player One. Every one of you, as you hear the sound of this, that's all I'm asking of you.
Yeah.
Just take well, it's not all I'm asking of you. You got more stuff stacked, but I'm just asking if you could, please go out there. You can use the QR code if you're watching this on YouTube later on your computer. Although I got to tell you, man, so many people just rely on their handhelds now. It's all just their mobile.
I know we're the odd men out. Like I hate using my phone for anything.
Right.
I want to Google it. I want to have the freedom to open up multiple tabs and go into rabbit holes and not have to it's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer the experience of even surfing around the web, just overall. Give me a computer or a large tablet, not my long, narrow phone. I can't, no. It's just not a platform to do it on, man. It's just not, okay? So anyway, that's all I'm asking, please. And I'm relatively certain he doesn't listen to NetHeads, so he's not going to know what's coming. Don't tip him off, okay? But help me crush him. So that's the first thing I'm going to ask you guys for. The second thing I am going to ask you guys for, as many of you know, I have a TikTok account.
Right.
If you're willing, I'm not asking you to do this if you're not willing. There are some people that are vehemently against TikTok. They do not want it. My sister-in-law used to have a foreign exchange student that she sponsored who was from, I'm not sure if she was from China or it was the other, Singapore. No, not Singapore. Which is the one that's kind of like a territory of China and it's always
Taiwan.
a hot topic? Is it Taiwan?
Taiwan. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Singapore as well, but more so Taiwan.
Okay, whichever one it was. She's from one of those areas and she absolutely positively would not install TikTok because of the connection with ByteDance and the government. So, good thing. So if you're willing to do it, great. If you're not, that's fine too. In the show description, okay, for this week, if you go to the link that's in there, I'm asking you to look at that TikTok video. The reason why is because, dear listener, believe it or not, there are companies right now that are foolishly willing to pay me money to endorse their products, okay?
Hells to the yeah.
And so all I'm not asking you to buy it. I'm just asking you to increase engagement on the link.
Yeah, just watch it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm asking for. And if you want to do that Once again, I burned one of my 2 QR codes from Bitly this week.
I was going to say, they only give you so many for free, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I burned one of my 2. There's the QR code, but again, in the show description, wherever you are watching this, there's also a link to the video. And actually, I got to tell you, man, I'm thrilled that they pay me for these things, but in some cases, I just love getting the stuff too. You know, because you get your hands on the product in order to evaluate it. And right now, I've been having a real problem with the robots not getting to their chargers.
Yeah.
This is it right here. This is the Sync Genie S. Okay, that's the name of the product. It's a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled camera, except the storage for your videos isn't in the cloud. It's on 32 or 64 gigs of memory within the unit, if you depending on the one you choose. But also, you can control it through the app, and it gives you a full 360-degree view. You can set it up to do motion tracking. You can also set it up to do special alerts. And I got to tell you, this thing is not big. Look at this. When it's completely folded up, it's like a stack of Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Big. But amazing picture quality, and it has you can subscribe for AI enhancement as well. And it literally will send me descriptions now saying, like the activity it's seeing is a toy robot on a table, possibly black or white. You know, it sends me these things now, so it's learning. So if you could see that video, great. I'd really appreciate it. And I do honestly tell you guys, like right now through the TikTok shop, because TikTok is trying to become Temu, basically, okay?
Right.
They want to be the new Temu. They want to be the new Amazon affiliate source. Technically, we also do score a commission if you buy it through the link on the video for the TikTok shop. But like the 32 gig version of this is only $24.99. How the hell is that possible?
Well, it's the price of cameras has gone down so much. In fact, most small satellites now are just using what are they just like the little Android lenses, and then they're using the Raspberry Pi camera sensors for their cameras, even for most satellites now. Price, because it's just the sensor. The lens isn't as important as the sensor is, and sensor prices have gone down astronomically in the past 5 years.
I hate to sound like the commercial that I did for this thing, but it really does have some cool features too, Trent. Like literally, you can both set a password and determine the amount of time you want to share the link, so you can do co-viewing of the feed with people if like something is happening. It has a call feature, so you could have by-way conversation if you want to stay in touch with somebody in the house, or yell at the dog to get away from something.
Because it does have a camera, or excuse me, a microphone as well.
Yep, it does. And it's even got its own, it's got 5 ultra bright LEDs for an adjusted spotlight as well.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were doing some sort of independent pay-per-view service, you wouldn't have to also purchase a ring light. You would have those lights as well.
Or I mean, I don't know if there is some way you could do this only for your fans, but you know, I don't know. So anyway,
I'm
check
sure
it
there
out.
are many videos that could be made with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, but I got to tell you, I was actually shocked at this thing, especially considering the base is motorized. But like, I don't know if you also notice, it's got camera threads for like a tripod mount or a camera mount.
Oh, so yeah, it probably just has like a 1/4-inch thread on the bottom.
Regularly threaded base. It's amazing. So you want to check that out. Now, the last thing I want to do is mention. And this is kind of like shouting out the people that matter most to us. I appreciate every one of you that's watching right now or catching the stream, listening to the podcast. But one of the things I've been very poor on is announcing our patron of the week.
Oh, sure.
So
sure,
we have Patreon supporters, people that pay us. And so I want to take a moment to thank Chris Duncan for joining at the MODOK level. And he is the latest person to join the NetHeads Patreon. You can find that at patreon.com/NetHeadsOnAir. Again, link is in the show description. We're making it nice and easy for you.
Yeah,
right?
and you know what? Here's the thing. If there's any level that you need to come in on, why not be the mobile organism designed only for killing?
You know, you're the reason why we have that level. You're the reason, Trent. We did it for you. We did it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, We're bringing in props. Here we go. Was that your underwear? I'm sorry. I cut back too soon. I had no insight. Please tell me that was a pair of shorts. There he is, MODOK.
Yeah, they're
Look at
jogging shorts.
Okay, look at that. Such a good, frightening, terrible thing. The only thing about MODOK that I can think of is that I'm just so bummed that the Hulu show isn't going to continue because it had such possibilities.
But good news. Hitmonkey officially announced is getting a second season
Where are they airing it?
on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, Hulu is the avenue for anything that's Disney, Marvel that is not fall within the branding standards of Disney Plus, because they're like a 51% shareholder in it.
Oh, Bobo Dillagaff is asking a very valid question, Trent, and I guess we could take a moment to also deviate from the show notes to make an announcement. Last show, way back last year, I announced. Sorry, I had to do it. I'm a dad. I announced that we were doing something special. That if you signed up for the NetHeads Patreon before, well, I don't even know if it's about before. We'll be a little loose with it, but I've also had a bad history of shipping things.
Right.
Regardless, and I think on the next show, if you guys watch the video, I will present the coin or drop it into post on the edited version of this. But we have actually officially produced the NetHeads Patreon exclusive challenge coin. The minimum order commitment was well in advance of the size of our Patreon support.
Right.
So I said, no matter what level, if you join, honestly speaking, if you could at least hang around for 3 months, I will give anyone and everyone a coin. The NetHeads Challenge coin. And it really looks really good, Trent. It's like metal and blue for the NetHeads logo, and the flip side, it's the combination of you and I, the hybrid tech thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
With different blue highlights as well there. I'm really looking forward to get it. And the update is they will be delivered January 16th.
That's like in 6 days.
Brother, tell me about it. I'm going to have them in hand. So I'll definitely be able to show them in the next show. And I'm really excited. I mean, honestly speaking, it's a much cleaner version than the old, thing I did there. It's not going to have the year. It's silver around the border. I think NetHeads is in black, and there's the hybrid, you and I in the back, on the back side. On you and I on the back side. That's going to be the name of our porno tape. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Well
so
done.
that's at patreon.com, NetHeads on air. Link is in the bio. Really looking forward to getting those coins and getting them out because, I use the money that our patrons provide us through their regular subscriptions in order to get them. So putting the money back into rewards for you guys. That's what I'm all about now. Not, why would I want to put my kids through college? Why would we want to do anything to enhance Trent's life? No.
It's that these are just minor details.
No, we want to provide you with something you could potentially throw at someone to protect yourself.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing. Anyway, Trent, we're getting close to the end of the program naturally, but I have to tell you, we've had a first since you mentioned Disney Plus.
Right.
We have had a first that we haven't had yet. So in case you are not aware, you are aware. I told you about it already. It's in the show notes. Disney Plus finally released a program where they dropped a TV show where they've dropped all 5 episodes at once. So it's totally binge worthy. And I have to tell you, it is worth your binging time. Back in, I think it's 2 years ago, so it was 2021, we were given a special 6-episode run for a TV show sort of centered around Hawkeye, right?
Okay.
In that TV show was a character that was introduced that I cared very little about.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Until I saw the 5 episodes of this show that are available now on Disney Plus. Now these are, this show is a little more gritty. It's a little more mature. It's a mature advisory on it. And it is Echo. And it is There's no better way to put this, Trent. Now, first of all, let's go back a little bit. In case people are not aware, the character Echo, and now I'm going to be deferring to the guy who owned a comic book shop, but Echo was already part of a special publication in a special imprint from Marvel, right? I don't know if it was Marvel Knights or something else.
It was, if I remember correctly, I want to say Echo first came out in, Icon. As part of, it was the Icon that made the Jessica Jones books. Anyway, Marvel had an imprint that was not unlike Vertigo for a short time, and that's where she came out.
Exactly. And this the beautiful thing about this show, and by the way, folks, don't worry, we're not going to put up the spoilers warning, especially since I'm willing to put money on. You know what, Trent? I'm going to put this resin printed coin. I'm going to bet it on this. I'm willing to bet you haven't watched it yet.
No, I haven't watched it yet. No. I do follow David Mack though on Instagram, I think, maybe Twitter. I can't remember. But I remember when Hawkeye came out, he was like just going off of how excited he was that a character that he created along with Joe Quesada was being brought into the cinematic universe and blah blah blah. And to go back and think about those now, I'm like, oh, he probably knew where they was headed ahead of time.
Yeah, more than likely. And well, I think they did before Hawkeye came out, they definitely, I believe, announced that Echo would be getting her own show. Now, the great thing about this, and again, no spoilers. However, I will say that this show for 4 3/4 episodes is definitely in line with what we got from the Marvel shows that were on Netflix. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, not Iron Fist.
Let's not talk. Yeah, we don't talk about Iron Fist.
Yeah, but we definitely got we get that kind of tone. It does have violence. It's a little more gritty. The key takeaways I have from the show is that it was very compelling. It drew me in instantly. It was nice to see kind of a more, not mature tone, but a well-structured story that, most importantly, because every one of those Netflix shows, in my opinion, there's always one or two just filler episodes because they're trying to make the episode count.
Perfect example is Punisher.
Punisher did it. I mean, even Daredevil did it, and oh my God, what is the name of the indestructible man? Why am I blanking on this? Luke Cage. Okay, so Luke Cage, for example, there's a moment where he loses his powers and then gets them back, but that is all just fluff to find the scientist. Right. Doesn't really move the story along whatsoever, other than discovering how this really happened to him.
I mean, and sadly enough, even Mandalorian had a couple of those episodes as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but with this, it's 5 solid episodes, 5 episodes to keep you in. The other thing that I really love about this, differentiating it from all the other Disney Plus Marvel shows. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering, this one is released, if you haven't heard, under the Marvel Spotlight banner. So what they're saying is these are more street level stories.
Okay.
These are they're not what you would consider like continuity dependent stories.
Sure, yeah. These aren't like Avengers dependent stories.
Exactly. And the only thing I think Marvel is missing on this is the fact that we are continuity nerds, and a lot of us loved anyway, those Netflix shows. And so, we're going to want to see these heroes involved in the movies sometime.
Oh my God, yeah. If nothing else, like even just in references, right? We don't need to see them, but just talk about I mean, it even goes to like the very first, when people were just even starting to get an idea of what it would have been about in the Hulk movie. At the very end of the Hulk movie, they show that map, and then they're talking about so and so here and so there and stuff. Like, we all nerded out so hard, and it was like 7 years later before any of that developed, and it was one references that we
Captain America's Civil War, or no, that wasn't the one. It wasn't Civil War. It was Captain America, the Winter Soldier. There was the whole map scene, and they're like, no, Stephen Strange. All these people have the the ability.
Yeah.
And I will say, and I think it's in the first episode, and it's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. We do also get a Daredevil appearance, which thoroughly confused me because Daredevil showed up in She-Hulk, but he was sporting the new yellow and red suit, and this was the all red suit because it was a prior to kind of thing, prior to the present.
And it's funny that it's the yellow suit because the new yellow suit, because the yellow suit is the original suit.
Yeah, the even though it's not even yellow and red, it's kind of like yellow and brown in the comics.
But
at least
yeah. And it only lasted like 4 issues before they were like, no, just go all red instead. Don't get rid of the yellow. It's not working.
There you go. Yeah, let's do red with some blue shading to indicate shadows, which is part of the reason why, for the longest time, honestly speaking, when I was growing up, I really thought Spider-Man's costume was red and black, and that the blue highlights was light hitting the black.
Exactly. Yeah. For until, in fact, it wasn't until probably for me, like the animated series where you actually saw it was blue, because shading's so hard to do in 2D animation.
Yep. And and that kind of brings me to my final spoiler-free thought about this show. It is, once again, exactly what I would want, because this is something that we got from like the first season of CW's The Flash, where every episode felt like a comic book. And Trent, every episode feels like a comic book.
There's something about, especially if you can find it. It's out of print right now. It cycles every once in a while. Denny O'Neil's book on writing comics. It's DC publishes it. It is like it's the best book on storytelling I've ever read, and that's coming from someone with English degrees. And you can tell, like, there's just something about comics that gives you a perfect 3-act structure that can then live on past those 3 acts. It's 3 acts put into larger 3 acts, and it works so well.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to mention, one of the really cool things, being a frequent Marvel comic reader as a kid, the thing that I always appreciated and liked that they did was what I called the final page, because it was always independent of the story, and it was the foreshadowing of where we're going.
Yep, totally.
So I always like that, and that's kind of like it. We don't get this in this show, but we definitely got it in CW's The Flash, which is part of what hooked me in. But it's definitely this adaptation of Echo. Because I know that in the comics she's just deaf. This one, there's also, to match the actress playing, there's also an artificial limb. What is it called? Why am I blanking on this? She's only got half a leg, is what I'm saying, for her right leg.
Yeah, she's an amputee.
Thank you. She is an amputee, and they even get into that. They just did a really great job with this whole series. They really did a great job on giving us the backstory of this character. And while not relying heavily on some of the footage from Hawkeye that we've already seen, they shot a lot of new stuff for all of the stuff to bring us up to present. And you really saw where it was going. And I would highly recommend it. If you haven't watched it and you liked the Netflix shows, go for it. Because the way they incorporate, like, even her prosthetic into the story works. It's really good.
There is one episode in Hawkeye that kind of dives into her a little bit, right? If I remember correctly.
Very, very little. There's a moment where that was meant to tease us, where you see her as a small child, and he's like, Uncle will stay with you, and then we hear Fisk's voice.
Yep, that's right.
It's 2 years ago, guys. Live in the present. It really, I'm thoroughly impressed with what they did. I really feel like they really came out of the gates well with this, and what I'm really hoping is that now that they've gone with this spotlight approach, I'm really hoping we get a grittier Moon Knight season 2.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, and that way you can, if you're going more street level stuff, right? And they're out of I forget what the country is called. Starts with a K, or I think, or maybe I'm getting that confused. Anyway, but if they get into like New York, wherever they're going, then you can do it with actually less. When I say big budget production, less computer rendering dependent production, right? So it's more dependent on just like actually shooting and acting as opposed to having artists creating effects.
You know what? Honestly speaking, other than some action that happens in the second episode, I really feel like this was very practical effects dependent for the majority of the run.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is exactly what we want. That's it.
Yeah.
God, I was watching something else recently. I'm like, wow, that was really good. And that's when you realize, oh, it's because they were going practical. So I was able to accept it more.
It really is. There's and I'm sorry, like effects have to be like so well done. Even if we look at like original Star Wars, why do we buy into those effects so much? Because they were practical effects. Those were real sparks. You know what I mean? Those were real like models flying and stuff. Like there's something to be said about practical effects still in this day, I think, that really help us, because like our brains are wicked smart. They can figure out just like what's that uncanny valley is just so noticeable.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I really thought I was excited, but I thought it was very ambitious that they were going with She-Hulk, because I'm like, wow, that's going to be very effects heavy. Good luck, guys. They still pulled it off. I've even rewatched She-Hulk recently. I like to rewatch a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, Trent, to harken back of days of yore, one of the things I've once again been rewatching, and I don't know why. For some reason, I fell back into Community again.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And it was amazing to me how much. Actually, you know what's amazing to me when it comes to Community? That I'm so stupid. That's what's amazing to me. Because
missed stuff in the first time, or what?
No, it's not even that. Let me try and remember. Okay, so Harmon is first 3 seasons. Episode 4 is a different showrunner. 5, they bring Harmon back in.
Right.
And one of the things I absolutely missed in the 5th season is any of the events that happened to the 4th season is what they were referring to as, oh, that was the gas leak year. Because there was the gas leak on campus and everything was off and weird.
That makes sense.
Oh, good. You're making me feel better. You didn't make the connection either.
Yeah, no, not at all. But now that you mentioned it, that makes total sense.
Well, and here's the reason why I finally figured it out. Here's the reason why I finally picked up on it. It was because when Brie Larson was guesting as the coat check girl, that was 4th season, right?
Okay.
And then Abed runs into her again in the 5th season, and he's like, what happened to you? And she says, you never called me. It's like, oh, well, that happened during the gas leak year, but you want to go grab dinner? So that's when I finally connected it.
Yeah, and rewatchability's been fine, right?
Yeah, it
like
definitely has. It definitely
like,
it definitely stands up. It stands the test of time so far.
Okay.
Because, you know, I'm at the point now in my life where I'm just going to be rewatching everything. I'm not going to live a lot of new stuff, Trent. I'm going to be relying on the old, because you know what?
Because it's familiar and we don't like change.
Trent, I'm so ashamed of myself. I was in the grocery store picking something up. I'm not ashamed for shopping, okay? Don't get me wrong. Not ashamed for shopping. But I was ashamed. I wasn't ashamed. I just felt shame. Because I was walking through the store, and I won't even say what song it was, but there was a song that came on from the 80s when I was a teen growing up, right? And literally, as the thought went through my mind, I was like, oh, Lord, that's where I'm at, because I heard the music, and I'm like, you know what? They just don't make music like this anymore. Look, you were even mouthing it before I said it. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, I can't hear you now. Why can I not hear you?
Are you saying that you are a yacht rock fan, perhaps?
No. It wasn't rock. Well, oh, Lord. Yeah, because I think it was a song by Chicago. But I don't think they qualify as yacht rock.
Okay.
Do they?
Yeah, it depends on the song.
Yeah, it does. But still, I wasn't proud of the moment. Hey, Trent, one other thing. I don't know if you're aware of this, because a year ago, my wife gifted me a water vessel. Okay, a water cup, a water
sure.
glass. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah. Vessel. It just makes me think of like I don't know, something like sci-fi. Like we need to obtain the vessel, a MacGuffin of sorts.
Well, and I bring this up because I just saw you taking a sip from something. What was it?
Oh yeah, I'm a brand whore. We all know that. You know, I'm always talking about my Sony cameras. I'm always talking about my AMD processors and graphics cards. Once I find a product that I love, I tend to be very faithful. Not unlike Contigo.
Contigo.
Contigo, with you in Spanish.
Contigo.
Man, I've got all my water bottles are Contigo. All my travel coffee mugs are Contigo. The caveat being for the coffee ones, you got to get the one that has the push button release to drink, because then it's always safe in case you spill. Because I'm spilling shit all.
I had one of those. It's an insulated one, a little concave near the top, and then it flares back out. That was my number one commuter mug for drinking commuter cup, I guess, because of that exact reason. So I guess then this hasn't hit you yet, because I got this and I really like it. It's really nice. But apparently then I heard about something, and I've seen a lot of online stuff where people are making fun of what it looks like. Lately I've been using this cup right here. And I'm not going to, it's funny you mentioned you're a brand whore, because that's kind of what's going on now. This is 40 ounces, right? 40 ounces insulated
Oh, wow.
cup.
That's not small. 40 ounces is a lot.
And it definitely, I would say, is well insulated, because I have had come to water 24 hours later and it has been cold.
Still cold.
And everybody in internet land is like, hey, wait, I know what those are. This is a Stanley, okay? A Stanley.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if there's any affiliation, because I think there's also Stanley Tools. I don't know if it's the same symbol.
Brand. I believe it's the same brand, yes.
Okay, so I don't know. But the thing is, apparently, people collect these things. I don't understand the concept. I've got one. I got this. I've got
they collect like pop figures, like baseball cards. They collect them.
Yes, so much so you're not going to believe this, Trent. Target had an exclusive Stanley for Galentine's Day. Okay, so the day before Valentine's Day, where ladies treat themselves. It was it was a pink, metallic pink cup with the highlights on it, and Target exclusive. And apparently, when they released it, people came down upon Target. They descended on Target the same way that mothers and fathers and parents did for Cabbage Patch Kids in the 80s.
What? Like this is like Tickle Me Elmo style? Like,
yes, believe it or not, they collect them. I mean, everyone in my family has one. We got one. I don't understand the concept, but they are a craze now. They are official craze, so much so that you can find knockoffs of the Galentine's Day cup now and everything else. I don't understand consumers, Trent. I just don't.
Which is when your Temu comes into place, where you can actually get your knockoffs. You just got to wait a little bit longer for it to show up.
By the way, one of the winners, when I did the Vector Robot giveaway, the biggest bro, he said I sold, I got 2 cups sold for $110 a piece. So he bought them and resold. Okay, now I understand more. Now we're getting deeper.
Yeah, now you're talking my realm of like speculation, whether it be like screen print posters or low print or low pressed vinyls. You're buying a whole lot just for the resale.
There you go. It's like that whole thing with Taylor Swift tickets last year. You know, you could get them cheap, but it was the resale that was killing everybody. But now here's the fun game that we get to play, Trent. As long as you and I still get to talk, we still do our thing. We're still together.
Sure.
Still a couple, if you will.
Still here. Yeah. Well, I mean, we are partners of a sort.
I would definitely say so.
Yeah.
I would definitely say so. Because of what we have discussed in the past, now we get to find out. Let's draw the line in the sand right now. 1/11/2024. We have to figure out how soon in Logan, Utah, you once again become aware of a zeitgeist around the Stanley Cup. Because I think as we said in the past,
right. Yeah.
Utah's like 2 to 3 years behind.
This is true. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And because Utah wants nothing more than to be California.
Yeah. Well, then I would expect maybe within a year. But now we've got this ticking time bomb. Much in the same way in season 6 of Community, in the very first episode, when Paget Brewster's character is introduced and she's saying like, well, what was Shirley's role? And, he's like, well, she played steel drum in our band. and then she left, and he's like, just wait, it'll pay off.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Same thing. Now we will sit here and we will wait until Trent comes into the program and says, Will,
People are going nuts here, man.
in absolutely no relation to hockey, the Stanley Cup has arrived.
Shit. Yeah, Lord, it's not Lord Stanley's Cup we're worried about.
No, it isn't. But I will tell you, I've even seen like guys doing videos or memes too, and they're just like, I heard all this stuff about Stanley Cup. Honest to God, I thought they were talking hockey.
Yeah, because they do the Stanley Cup tour where they take it around the whole, up to all the nation, and people get to touch it and hold it up and stuff.
Well, Trent, we'll just have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see what happens. I'm totally psyched now to find out when this pays off.
Hopefully I haven't missed it already. Like maybe it already happened and I'm just so socially isolated that it's just like, yeah, I missed it. Sorry, my bad.
Okay. Well, Trent, I think there's a very easy way to figure this out, and that's this. One time you have to go to the other side of town to the Walmart.
Sure.
Go to where the thermal cups are,
Hmm?
and see if there is an empty shelf with a sticker that
Yeah,
says
it's Stanley.
Stanley 40 ounce.
40 ounce. Yeah. Okay. Which a big gulp is 32 ounce and a double gulp is 44 ounces. So it's almost as big as a double gulp.
Well, the thing I appreciate about it is that it's an even number. So now I can very easily, I get to do less math to determine if I've had at least a gallon of water for the day.
Your water. Yeah, yeah. So how many ounces are in a gallon?
Why you got to put, it's 128. It's 128.
Okay,
I'm just going to say it's 128.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Because it's if you think about it, one of the very first things I learned in the idiot's version for measurement and weight, because America does everything lame.
Oh, gosh.
It's 4 cups to a quart, 4 quarts to a gallon. Okay. And a cup has 8 ounces. So 32 times 4, 128. Oh my gosh, I just mathed.
Did it. You did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a day that will be marked in history. Will successfully mathed on an episode of NetHeads. Trent, that is the high moment that we need to go out on, I believe.
Yeah, we need a George Costanza this.
We got to step out. We got to move away. We're done. That's it. No more show for today. But I do have to ask, did you any particular gift that we haven't discussed it, any particular gift that you love for the holidays since I'm sure nobody else but me bothered to not get you a gift?
No, that was that's all I requested from everyone was don't give me anything.
And it worked?
Yeah, it absolutely worked.
Oh, well, congratulations,
Thank
man.
You. Thank you.
Well, and here's the thing too, Trent. There's one person that was talking about what their family does, and they're like, and there were always 1 or 2 extra gifts under the tree that were for my dad. And he's like, oh, those are from the dogs. So for every dog they had, they got a gift. So what did you get yourself for Christmas, Trent?
What did I get myself for Christmas? I'm trying to think. Records probably. I mean, I've always got records that are coming in the mail because I pre-order them and so they just show up. So in any given month, I'm getting like 6 or 7 new records.
You know, Trent, I'm not going to tell you what they are because 2 of them are Smodco related and one is Taylor Swift. But I guess I just did anyway. I am the proud owner of a total of 3 pieces of vinyl.
Oh, go on.
I know I said I wanted to end on a high note, but I'm going to ask. I want to listen to them. Okay. What without breaking the bank,
yeah.
Do you have any advice on what I should get in order to play my vinyl and enjoy it?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is check Facebook Marketplace because I'm almost positive you can pick up an Audio-Technica LP60, I believe is what it's called, the 60, for under $50. It retails at like 120. You can pick it up for $50 used because what happens is a lot of people either A, they get it and they don't want to listen to records, they decide, or they get it and they want to upgrade immediately. So you can get it's a low end, but it does have line out, RCA line out. So you don't have to get like a preamp or to boost the phono into a line going out to your speaker. So if you've just got like that's what I would do. Just if you've got 3 records, that's the route I would go.
Okay. I will take your advice because Okay, Bobo Diddlegaff is asking, so I will point out the what I have is, first of all, I was buying for my daughter, my youngest, my 9-year-old. She is a Taylor Swift fanatic. Okay,
Right.
she puts the fan into Fanatic, so we picked up 1989 on vinyl for her. Well,
The one album
I
that
got
I
her
have
the CD
listened to.
too, but what?
That's the one album that I have listened to of hers.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, the other one that I have, actually, it goes back ages and ages. And I recently just opened it up to make sure I didn't get one of the, why am I on you? Why I didn't get, to make sure I didn't get one of the limited edition color albums, is actually the first Tell 'em Steve Day vinyl that was done.
From when they did it on Bandcamp.
Yes, I have one of those. And
Yeah.
the last one I have is the Kevin Smith and Jennifer Schwabach Smith Murica
Herka.
vinyl.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to hear them. Now, mind you, one of them, well, two of them, like I know they're from podcasts, so I'm not really anxious to hear the sound quality, but I admit that one of the things that I really want to do in getting a turntable and the ability to play vinyl is to listen to the difference in sound quality of vinyl versus all of the digital product we have now. But I have to ask you, Trent, being a connoisseur, because I already know, for example, if I were able to get my hands on an original vinyl that contains Stairway to Heaven, and then I compared it against like an MP3 of it, I know that there's fidelity in there I would not be able to hear. There are instrument sounds, other things. In the are the vinyls you collect, are they vintage, or are some of them modern? So they're modern recordings.
Both. Yeah. So a lot of the hip hop that I collect is like modern stuff that's coming out, and then a lot of the jazz and bossa nova stuff that I'm looking for is usually pretty old.
Okay, so then my question is, for modern stuff, do you hear a difference given that the majority of audio recording is probably done with digital technology?
Totally. Yeah. It is done digitally. And I don't know if this is just confirmation bias that I think I'm justifying my own expenditures. So I hear it. But what I feel like, the way I've got my system set up is with two really large speakers up on top of my bookshelves, crossing streams this way, then with my sub kind of off to the side. I did the sub crawl to find the best spot, but I feel like you can physically feel the different layers of music better. Vinyl, like if there's a subtle harmony, it feels like it's behind the wall of the rhythm, or in front of the rhythm that's pushing it forward, and it has a more tactile feel to it. Whereas I feel like in the digital versions, it's all just one wall of music.
Gotcha.
Sound. It's just one constant like wave. Whereas I feel like there's multiple waves happening all at once within vinyl, if that makes sense.
It does make perfect sense, and I really look forward. Wow, you know what? I realize though that's kind of it's still on point because it is still a tech discussion.
Totally.
So that makes me feel good. So thank you very much for your guidance there, and it's very interesting to both hear your perspective and also to understand what I should probably do in order to find that. The other thing that I'm paranoid about, that I definitely need to make sure I open up the other albums for, is to make sure that there are no PVC sleeves being used, because apparently, for cost saving, modern albums might be released with PVC sleeves, but the problem is that those will interact with the vinyl and eventually cause a degradation.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And same way with even just the paper sleeves.
So what do I do, Trent? What do I do?
Great question. They have Hudson something or other. There's a million of them. They're like a coated mylar, just like you would with your comic books, but it's really, really thin, and that's supposed to be anti-static more than anything. And then also it's easier to get out because those paper ones are such a pain in the ass.
Not to mention, there's always that time you go to slip it in, and then you just slit the side wide open with the album, and your album falls on the floor, and you cry.
Yep. And on top of it, the paper gets the crease on the LP fold when it comes back in on itself. There's always that one side. You hit it every time, and it jams, and it turns into a big fucking pain in the ass.
Okay,
Sorry.
don't go all Lewis Black on us, okay? Calm down.
I know. I was going full rage there for a second.
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome, man. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this brand new year of NetHeads. Thank you very much. Trent, I got to let you know, I've seen people say, I just signed up for the Patreon. The coin is the bait that we've needed to put out there. I think the only thing is maybe I should ship the coins to you to make sure they get shipped out. That's what I'm
Hey,
thinking.
I'm pretty good at putting stuff in the mail.
Yeah, and I'm terrible at it. So thank you very much, everyone. Please remember, if anything from this episode that you could do that I have asked, it's just to use that link to go to the Google form to make sure that we vote for Ready Player One and we squash Mr. Marvelite. Tony, he needs to if I'm going to be co-hosting on the 19th of this month, he needs to know you can't play with the Wilkins.
Yeah, you run with the big dogs. You got to learn to pee in the tall grass.
Exactly. And don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. Until next time, folks, my name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we will be back
Soon.
Are you sure about that?
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodco Internet production. SIP. Only at smodcast.com. Well, what do you think, man? We pull it off?
Did it, tid it.
I'm sorry, what?
Did it, tid it.
Okay, we're just going to leave that one there. I don't know what's going on anymore.